Hi everyone, I'm Heather Poduska, star maker for entrepreneurs who want to unlock their potential, command any stage, and make blockbuster profits. Welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. Here we go.
Hi everyone, I'm Heather Poduska and welcome to this episode of Thrive, how to maximize your natural productivity with my guest Pooja Madan. Pooja Madan is a leadership expert who teaches entrepreneurial women how to tap into their inner wisdom and honor their natural rhythms to increase their productivity. On this episode, Pooja shares with us why it's so important to understand not only the seasons of the year, but the seasons of each day in order to tap into the natural flow of your body, of your energy, of your spirituality, and just of your mindset to be the most productive and the most stress-free throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your year. She came up with this system when she found herself living a double life. And I don't mean 007, but she was working a high-pressure, highly successful corporate job during the day, and at night was going home and found herself exploring meditation and spiritual laws. And because of the events of her own life, she finally discovered that when you combine those two things, the masculine, the more driven, the more assertive and aggressive energy with the softer, receiving, feminine energy, and you combine those, that's when the magic really starts to happen. That's when you have the drive and the energy to make big projects happen, and you have the ease and the flow and the peace to do it with grace and elegance. Pooja had so many great insights and tips for us to be more productive and to honor our own rhythms. I hope you enjoy this episode with her. It was really fun chatting with her. And as always, if you'd like to know how to create a brand that makes you happy and profitable, go to my website at heatherpoduska.com and sign up for my newsletter. Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoy this episode of Thrive. Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Poduska, and welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. You're in for high-value content coming to you from industry leaders who are growing their business, making an impact, and rocking their brands. And I'm so excited to have a guest here with me today, Pooja Madan. Pooja Madan is the secret weapon to hundreds of entrepreneurial and professional women enjoying more time, energy, and freedom in their life and business. She's a leadership coach who teaches women from around the world a system of productivity and life design that connects them to their inner strength, wisdom, and natural rhythms. She's the best-selling co-author of Unleash Your Inner Magnificence and 365 Ways to Connect with Your Soul. Pooja also contributes regularly to publications like the Huffington Post, Mind Body Green, and the Elephant Journal. Thank you so much for joining me, Pooja.
Thank you, Heather. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are new friends, and sometimes when people come on, I know them and I know a lot about their businesses and what they do, but we're new friends, and I'm so excited to get to know more about you and what it is that you do. So can you give us an overview of how you help people with their productivity?
Yes, of course. So I sort of fell into this through personal challenge, as a lot of us have come to this work through that. Mm-hmm. And, the challenge I faced was being too young in my work in corporate when I worked for tech startups, and realizing that we can be very good at production and making companies profitable, but if we don't know how to honor who we are as women, it can cause a lot of burnout for us. Not just burnout, but it ends up being we end up compromising on our health and our relationships. And there's just a whole aspect of ourselves that we have to leave at the door, like I like to, as I like to call it. And so this system that I teach is an integration of yin and yang energies. It is the roots which keep us rooted through keeping our eye on profits and keeping our eye on how we manage our time, but also the wings of how to stay connected to your higher power and letting that guide you on a daily, weekly basis to then take our gifts out into the world in a way that feel balanced, aligned, and harmonious.
That sounds wonderful. And how did you come up with this system?
So in my 20s, I worked for tech startups. Straight out of my MBA, I got hired by this tech startup to do product management work for them. It was very, very exciting. It's like, you're on the cutting edge, and this is in the days of Palm OS. It was like really the thing. And it was very exciting work. It was challenging, and I was leading teams, and I was hiring people. And so it was very exciting. And so I was enjoying that, but I was also on a spiritual path, literally at the same time. So I was living double lives. I had a very young, like accomplishment oriented, money driven career in the day, and in the night I would be exploring these meditations. And a lot of spiritual work is feminine in its quality because you are receiving, you're at the, you're in touch with your feelings, you're processing stuff, you're healing, you're looking at yourself as a whole being. And so I felt I was living double lives. My life felt split to me because of this disconnect, that in the morning I'd have to leave all that behind and then show up to work. And then at the end of the day I would. So I knew that these worlds would need to collide at some point, that there had to be some way that these things could come together. And I was diagnosed with gigantic fibroids when I was 28 years old. They are benign tumors that sit around our uterus. So it was a wake-up call for me to assess what I really wanted to do with my life and how I wanted to do it. But it was also very clear, the symbolism of it wasn't wasted on me, that my most feminine part was being crushed, right?
Wow. Wow. That's powerful.
So I knew that if I didn't change how I thought and believed about myself and my work, and about production and productivity and getting my work out in the world, if I didn't revisit that, there would be other consequences. And that's when I started a design, like integrating, like, what do I know? What do I know about the systems and processes that really work, in my corporate world? And what do I know from this side of like honoring ourselves as whole beings, and using the intelligence of our emotions to make decisions, our intuition and things like that. And so that's how the system came to be.
That's wonderful. So how do you find the balance between the yin and the yang, the feminine and the masculine, the feeling and the intellectual? How do you marry those? And I'm going to ask both ways. As a woman, how do you honor who you are, but bring more male energy in? Because I think that can be challenging too for some women, not all women, and vice versa. If you're a man, how can you bring some of that more intuitive, softer energy into your work?
I love that question, because you're right. I work with women who are too feminine, and they need like this fire. And then there are very type A, accomplishment oriented women who need to soften and sort of step back and, make themselves a priority. So I love that question. And, Heather, I just always use Mother Nature as our model. So if we look at the earth, we go through 4 different seasons every year, right? And essentially everything that sustains us comes to us from the planet. So there's a lot of production going on, but each season has a different process that adds to that system of production, right? So in the spring and in the summer, the days are longer and there's more sunshine, which means there's more production. So we do get a lot of work done, so to say. And then in the fall and in the winter, there's a different quality to that time. There's less sunshine, and winter, there's like nothing is going on. Essentially, on the surface, nothing is moving, right? And it doesn't mean that nothing is happening. There's a lot of I like to think of it as Mother Earth's envisioning period. Like she's thinking about what seeds to plant next, right? So it's a complete shutdown. The factory shuts down. And we function in the same way. We have the day, which goes through the same 4 seasons. We have a spring in the morning from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. This is our time for fortifying ourselves. This is our time for aligning and balancing and nourishing our body, our mind, our heart, and our spirit, so that when we move into the summer of the day, which is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., when we get ready to produce, we are very able, we are very strong and fortified for that time. Around 4 o'clock, we step into the fall of our day, which, we need an extra cup of coffee.
Or I was going to say, the fall or the coma. I'm not sure which one it is. The coma of our day.
Right. It is, because our energy immediately starts to dip. And this is where if we can honor who we are, we will start to slow down. We are not leaving our very high creative work for 4 o'clock and after. I often do more admin type stuff and tying loose strings and sending out emails and scheduling social media type things during my fall, so that I'm not required to be at my most focused, most attentive best at that time. Then we move into our winter, which is from 10 in the night to 4 in the morning. This is our sleep time. And, we start our days with a lot of intention, Heather. And we were talking about this before, but we don't have so much intention about our nights. So how do you make sure that your night is actually that time where the healing and the releasing and the detoxification is happening, so that when you do spring forth, you have this fresh, vital spring energy to then fuel your business. So this is just one way that I teach on how to honor our natural. This is just naturally inbuilt in us. We don't need an external source to teach us this, but it helps to, once we're harmonized with it, this is the perfect balance of yin and yang and masculine and feminine, because 2 phases of that day are very masculine. You're out there, you're, creating, producing, and then 2 phases are more inward turning, where you're sort of self-nurturing and taking care of yourself and making sure you are you are protected so that you can give.
So just so I'm clear, obviously the summer is more masculine, right? It's more output. And then was it the fall or the spring that was also output?
Spring is also output.
Spring is also output, and fall is more feminine, nurturing, falling back.
Coma phase, like you call it.
Okay. Well, I know that's. I'm glad you brought up the sleep thing, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, read a lot of books, like we all do as we're growing our businesses, and I've been hearing so much about sleep. Arianna Huffington has her whole campaign about sleep, but so many great leaders in the entrepreneurial world talk about, at 9 o'clock, I am done. The computer is off. I'm winding down so that I can be fully present the next day. And that is so hard to do.
It is hard.
I have 3 kids. My husband has a job. We have soccer. And by the time we have dinner, clean up dishes, finish homework, it's already like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And you need that space to unwind. But if you need to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's like, how is that going to happen?
Yeah.
And so I have another question about this, because I also have read a lot about, and I do myself, I have an echo, working out in the morning, that it's really great. And also, especially if you're outside and you're getting the, vitamin D and the sunshine, it helps your sleeping and all of those things. But I get up at 5. I do my morning ritual. I do my gratitude. I usually maybe write in a journal, stretch. And if I have time, I'll meditate, but I always exercise in the morning. And then it's kiddo time, right, running around. So by the time I get home from taking everybody to school and making everything, it's 9 o'clock and I'm fried. And it's the time where I should be most productive, because, so what do you say about that? Because in some ways, I feel like, and I know I'm saying this about me, but I know a lot of people do this.
Yeah.
You have your checklist in the morning of what you're supposed to be doing to take care of yourself, but it becomes almost like another task of, okay, I meditated, check. Okay, I went to the gym, check. I did all these things. And by the time you sit down to work, it's like, why am I so tired? My creative energy isn't what I thought it would be. So what would you say about that?
Yeah, I love that question, because it does come up a lot, especially with the mothers. Like, there's just so much of you that you have to give away of yourself in the mornings itself. Even I'm getting an echo, Heather.
Yeah. Do you have any other windows open? Let's see if I do. I'm just making sure I close.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, I do have Gina.
Oh, if you have another window open, okay.
Is this better?
That's fine. I think it is. It's just sometimes if you have another blab window open or another camera or mic window open. Okay. I think it's better though. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I love that you bring it up, because in some ways we don't want it to be like a checklist, right? It certainly helps to have certain nourishing habits, that like you're working out in the mornings, you're doing your gratitude. But the moment it becomes like a checklist, that's where the danger comes in. So I always, I love joking that, give your structure some flow, right? So if on one morning you wake up and your body is very clearly saying, I need to sleep in another 10 minutes or half an hour, like give yourself that. So to have like a framework, what I really feel good when I work out or when I do my gratitude or when I meditate, I love when I can do that. But let's just say I can do that 80% of the time, but the other times I'm just giving myself, maybe you just need to sit on the porch with your coffee for 20 minutes, like one morning, because so much of you has been spent already, right? So that's one thing I always encourage my clients to do, is to just give some room for you to be who you are, and we change and we grow every day. And so if something needs to change just for that day, that's okay. The other thing I love to recommend also, Heather, is to have little baby period times where, you are, let's just say you forgot to meditate in the morning, or you just didn't have the time. Maybe after lunch, you can sit for 10 minutes. Or, I love the Pomodoro technique, where I'm working for 25 minutes and then for 5 minutes, I'm off. So whether, I'm stretching, or I'm maybe doing a little quick meditation or something like that, and then I'm back onto the 25-minute cycle. So those 5-minute breaks really, really help me and my clients to sort of just be connected to their bodies, or drink some water, or whatever it is that they have sort of have not had the chance to take care of first thing in the morning. So there's also that recommendation of, infusing some energetic practices throughout your day, so that it doesn't feel like, oh my God, I missed the morning, now my day's messed up. Right?
Yeah, I love that. And it's like HIIT training. I'm still getting that echo, but yeah, it's like HIIT training where you go hard and then you break. And they found that it's more efficient because when you just do long, slow, it's not, you're not firing in the same way, but your body needs that time to recover too. So it's just, so when you are working, so say you're in the summer of your day and you're working, is there any way when you're working to be more productive, when you're actually in the process of working, or to be more creative?
When do you mean the time specifically?
Oh, I was saying like from 10 to 4 when you're in the summer of your day and you're producing and you're doing your creative work while you're working. So you're not doing your 5-minute break, but while you're working, is there any way to be more productive in the moment?
Yes. I call it getting my blinders on, Heather. Once I get on Facebook, or, there's just so many temptations. So I turn off a lot of things. I have this app called Self Control, which basically blocks. You can blacklist certain websites. So it blocks access to those. So I need the internet, I need my email, not even my email, but, for research or anything, I'll keep those on. But all the common ones that I would likely go to, Twitter or Facebook, or, maybe some news, I block those. So for 2-3 hours, and you can set how long you want to block that. So it could be half an hour, it could be 4 hours. So if you're working on a project, like let's say you're writing blog posts, you're just in the zone of it. So you just block everything out.
I love that.
I have a whole toolkit of tools like that help us get our blinders on. Another one is called the Newsfeed Eradicator. It's on Facebook. It basically takes your newsfeed off. So you can get in there, go to your groups and participate and check individual people's pages, but your main newsfeed is totally clean. Like you're not seeing anybody's kitten videos or whatever. So I like to do that also. I like to do that. So what
was that called again? Pooja, what was that called again?
It's called the Newsfeed Eradicator, and it's a Chrome extension.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then there is another Chrome extension called Stay Focused, which does the same thing that Self Control does, which helps you block certain websites off. So it'll let you, you can set the time, how long you want to access it. So I have some sites for 7 minutes, and after that it'll say, shouldn't you be working?
Yeah. So I love that. Then it's being more present as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's just a life lesson to be more present in everything that you're doing.
Yes.
So we talked about the rhythm of your day. Is there anything about broader spans of time about rhythm and being productive, not just within a day, but maybe a week or a month or even a year? Are there any things like that?
Yeah. So as women, Heather, we actually get a broader span within the month. So our menstrual cycle, our moon cycle, goes through the same 4 seasons. So right after our period, we enter the spring. Then we are in the summer during ovulation. And then we have our follicular phase, which is what we call PMS, right? And then we have menstruation, which is winter, which is to me also great, blueprint for women to understand where energetically they can create and produce and when they need to do certain other things. So let me give you an example. PMS is such a cranky time for a lot of us, right? We just get agitated. And part of that agitation comes from the fact that we don't have the same energy that we had in the spring and the summer, the first two phases of our cycle. But what we do have in that phase is a lot of attention to detail. So for me, like there'll be a sock on the floor the whole month, I won't care. But during this time, I have to put it right. And so this is the time where we have a very sharp attention to detail, and we're very good with like numbers. So I do a lot of like, number crunching type of things. I do a lot of anything that needs to be on an Excel sheet. I'll clean out a lot of stuff, like organize things, chopping things like that. It's a very like detailed oriented type of phase. So it's very good to leave some of your activities for that phase, because you will not have the energy for that in the spring and the summer, because you're so like active and, like so filled with energy that, to sit down and actually take care of details is not something that comes naturally. And I share this with clients and they're like, this is true. I just want to do laundry like 1 week in the month, right?
Yeah.
Like well, I think times.
Yeah, like if you're doing your billing or you're going over your accounting, or whatever, that you might save that for that time of that time. Mm-hmm, that's awesome. So I love what you're saying about really tapping into your feminine side and your feminine. What are some other ways of drawing energy, or that you've experienced to really maximize and leverage your feminine power and your feminine energy to infuse your work?
I find my meditation to be the most powerful way to connect with that, intuitive. I almost joke that I'm not in the driver's seat anymore. Like I get the guidance and I take action on it. So I love that it's not on me anymore. I also find the sisterhood really helps. Like when you and I are connecting, or when there's like a group of us, there's just so much collective wisdom there that I consciously make time to spend time with my girlfriends, with my clients, like making sure that we are in a sangha, as it's called in Buddhist terms, when there's a community of us together, we are amplifying each other's strengths and our powers and normalizing what everybody's struggling with as well. Mm. So that is something I encourage every woman to prioritize, to connect with her sisters.
I love that.
Yesterday we made flower crowns. Some girls, it was very cute.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was just telling someone else the other day, I heard a Harvard study, and it's a really long study. It's 75 years old, and they studied thousands and thousands of men over many years to see what the indicators were for health and happiness over a long period of time. Mm. And the number one thing over like your cholesterol level, like different things that you would think about your health, the number one thing was your quality of your connections.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah.
It was, and they studied, people all the way through their 90s. It was a really comprehensive study, and they said it was your connections, the quality of your connections. And even if you had connections that were not perfect, the main thing that really mattered was that you felt like that person would have your back if you really needed them to.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Yes. It's very strengthening to our core to know that. And I think as women, we tend to amplify that for each other naturally. So,
hi everyone. I hope you're enjoying the show. There's still more great content to come, but I wanted to take just a minute to talk to you about a new course I've created called Close Any Room. You may have noticed that all of my guests know how to speak about their businesses in a clear and compelling way. But that's something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, and it's something you need to know how to do so you can convert your audience into more sales. And that's why I've created this course. It's a 6-week audio course to teach you how to craft a signature talk so that you can authentically give value and close more of your audience from the stage. In the class, you learn how to create a clear and compelling point of view, how to organize your content and give great value to your audience without giving away the farm, how to structure your talk so that it seamlessly closes your audience at the end without feeling salesy. And I also give you templates and instructions how to create marketing materials, a speaker sheet, and all kinds of sign-up sheets when you're giving your talks. And finally, what everybody's hot to know, I also give you tips and resources on how to find speaking gigs. It's an all-inclusive course so that you can start closing and selling more from the stage. And as my free gift to you for tuning into the podcast, I'm giving you my free webinar, also called Close Any Room, and you can listen to it at clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. room, and it will give you lots of tips and information to get you started on how to create that signature talk that sells. Okay, we're going to get back to the show now. There's still more great content to come. Thanks for joining me. So how much, I know you're from India, right? And, that seems to be I've never been there. It just seems so beautiful and such a spiritual place. So what do you think that we can learn as Westerners from your culture, and in terms of, especially as women, as infusing more, not religion, but spirituality into our lives to make it a richer experience?
Oh, wow. I love that question. And I think about this often because I see there's something so beautiful about the West, especially when it comes to creation, like innovation. There's, the West has really nailed that down. And then the East is so good at just being happy, like with nothing, right? Like there's just, it's amazing to me. Like the poorest people in India, they'll be like wearing nothing. They have like one sweater and that's it, bare feet. And they're playing with their cardboard boxes and they're just the happiest people. It's just, and this generosity just moves me so much. The poorest people are so generous to give like their food and their money, to random strangers. And I mean, I don't see that here in the West so much. So it's a very interesting question. It's something I contemplate a lot, Heather. And I think the one thing that I would encourage your audience to think about is how can we be okay with where we are, even though we have big goals and big dreams, and we're always moving forward, to be fully present and appreciative and grateful for where we are and what we have right now.
Yes.
Because if we don't, then happiness becomes an elusive thing right around the corner, that once I get there, then I will be happy. And then, of course, that bar has changed, right? So to have this sense of wherever we are, like there's a Zen saying, wherever you are, there you are.
Yeah, right.
It's so profound. And to just be where you are and appreciate everything that you have created, and to celebrate everything you've accomplished, keeping your eyes on the next goal, but not letting that become your source of happiness. I think that's a really big.
I love that answer. I love that answer. And I think that it's the most wonderful thing about living here is that really anything is possible. I just went with my daughter to an American national park north of Boston, which was one of the first textile factories in the country. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about the conditions. They worked in this room with the cotton, and flying through the air. It was 90 degrees. These women had to wear long dresses and they got brown lung from sucking in this, material. And I think, wow, to be a woman living here at this time with infinite possibility is so amazing.
I have goosebumps as you say that. It's so true. It's a very special place. Like I could not do this in India, this work.
Yeah.
So.
But I think it cuts both ways, because if you're not fulfilling your ultimate vision of where you think you should be, I think there's a lot of shame and frustration with that, because it's like anything is possible. So why am I not where I think I should be?
Yeah. Why am I stopping here? Right.
Yeah. And I love what you're talking about going in, because when you go into what your gifts are and honor, you went into your body, right? Literally, and was like, my body is telling me to take a different path. And I think that is to really honor your time, your talent, and what you're saying, to be aware of the seasons of your productivity and all of those things. I think, and staying present, I love what you said about really staying present helps you focus on where you are, and you have that distant goal, but it's also about the journey too.
Yeah, exactly. I want every woman entrepreneur to be really happy where she's at right now, even though she's expanding her potential, to really just be deeply fulfilled with what she's already created. I think that's very important for us.
So what would you say as a tip for the entrepreneur who has, because we all have big goals. We have big goals. Here we are. We're, making our way. For that space between being happy with what we have and striving for the next thing, what would be your advice to bridge that gap and be most productive and honor, your natural rhythms?
Well, the two words that came to me were celebration and meditation.
So does that mean I can drink champagne right before I meditate? I'm all about that.
Or like now at 10 in the morning.
There you go. It's 12 somewhere.
Well, let me share something with you, Heather. Every single client of mine has this little baby homework I give her is to write down her list of celebrations at the end of every day. Like no matter how big or how small it is, to really be deeply rooted and grounded in who she's becoming in this process. You know, so that sort of buoys us to do more the next day. But it's also very like, I had a very full, very, very rich day already. So, you know, that piece of like the grounding and growing roots would be the biggest thing I would recommend to. And it gives us more energy to do more, of course. But at the same time, I think we're good at dismissing everything we get done. You know, I don't know if this is your experience, Heather, but, oh, I managed that, but that's fine now. What's next, right? So I feel like to really acknowledge that within us is a very powerful tool.
Yeah, I agree. So you talked a little bit about how you help your clients. So tell us a little bit about what you do with clients, the process that you take them through, who your ideal clients are, and what happens as a result of the work that you do with them.
Yes, great. So on this weekend, I'm leading a retreat of some brilliant, high-performing women. It's called the Soul Alignment Retreat, where we're going to look at the roots and wings of their business and how they can keep coming home back to themselves so that then they can give back to the world. So the system I teach, Heather, is called Purpose, Power, and Presence. And it's basically, I like to refer to it as a funnel where you put all your overwhelm and your desire to grow and your goals. And essentially what comes out is an action blueprint, which honors you as a woman, gets you to be very profitably productive, as I like to call it. Purposeful, profitable productivity. And at the end of that program is a woman who has not lost herself in the process of reaching her goals. Who has found that prioritizing herself and her family and her self-care has been the reason of her success.
I love that.
And so, yeah, there's a lot of like time management, of course, involved in that, a lot of energy management, a lot of mindset, relationship with money. But essentially, that's how I would summarize it, how to not lose yourself in the process of reaching your fullest potential.
So I would imagine that you have a lot of people that come to work with you who have maybe too much on their plate.
Yes.
Oh, big feedback there. But they have big goals, so they want to do everything. So as part of the process, helping them prioritize and figure out what should they be focusing on to honor who they are now.
Yes, they've already reached a certain level of like what you would call success. I don't like that word, but let's just say in the like close to the $100,000 range, where they have gotten, they've reached a certain level of success, and now as they are moving to the next level, they are overwhelmed with all the balls in the air, and they've had some reflection on what it has cost them already to get where they are. Right. And so that's where the rubber hits the road and we say, okay, let's streamline this process for you. Let's get you there. Let's make you more money without working harder.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
So, sort of practically speaking, what would that look like? Would it maybe like stopping a program that you're doing and focusing on something else in your business?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it boils down to narrowing it down to what are, your 2 or 3 main priorities for like it's a 90-day, like let's just say we work through 90-day program. So what is that 2 or 3 things that you need to focus on? Everything else can go to hell. Like you don't need to be on Instagram. You don't need to, there's so many things that we get overwhelmed with. Like I also need to be here. I also need to do webinars. Maybe not. Like just focus on your 2 or 3 main revenue generating activities. Let's streamline those into your weekly, daily activities so that you're taking baby steps towards those. At the same time, you're working to strengthen your inner resources so that when you do give, it's not a depletion of your energy.
Yeah, I love that too. And when I work with clients too, it's always about finding what their superpower is,
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, because you're good at, like you have your zone of genius, your zone of excellence, what you're good at. And a lot of people, it's fun to play, in both your zone of genius and your zone of excellence. But when you're really in that zone of genius, you can be more efficient and you can be more productive. So I really love that too. So where can people find you if they, online or your website, or how can they learn more about you?
Sure. So my website is wildradiantwoman.com.
WildRadiantWoman.com. Okay. Yep.
And right? Yes. Is it? Let me see. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And then I'm on Facebook, Pooja Madan, Pujamadan. I'm on Twitter, Pooja Madan. And I used to be on Instagram, but I gave that up.
Well, with Hootsuite, you can just click and it goes everywhere. So it's so easy. You just do one click.
Yeah, but Instagram needs pictures. I can't just post text on there. So it was becoming a whole production in of itself. And
well, there you go.
Yeah, so
you streamlined yourself.
I had to say no. Yeah, I had to say no to a few things.
That's cool. Well, I'm so happy that you came on here. I know that this is something that everybody, man, woman, or child, struggles with. I mean, I have 3 kids, and they struggle with their activities and their homework, and it's just a human thing to need to figure out what your priorities are and to have tools and strategies to honor who you are so that you make purposeful, profitable decisions, right?
I love that. Yes.
Yeah, right. So I want to thank you for being here. And one of the things I always ask everybody at the end is, because we have, I always feel like this is a communal time. We're communing.
I think so too. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
as we're communing together, what are you most grateful for?
Wow. I'm really grateful for the sisterhood, Heather. I have the huge, profound honor of connecting with some beautiful, beautiful, big-hearted, big-mission women like you. And it always melts my heart that we are all in this together. I'm grateful for that.
I love that. I love that as well. And I'm so grateful that you came, and I love that you're doing this work in the world. It's super important. And I think that there's no blueprint. I mean, despite the fact that everybody is selling a blueprint, there's really no blueprint for entrepreneurship, because everybody comes, they have different experiences.
It's like our thumbprint. We're all so different.
Yeah. Your company's different. Your family is different. Your background is different. There's no magic. It's like being a parent. There's no blueprint for that. So to have someone like you to come along and say, okay, in this spot in time, let's see what makes the most sense for you to make it work.
Yeah.
So I love that. So I really want to acknowledge you for that. And I want to thank you for your time and for sharing all of your resources with us. And can you say the apps one more time? It was
So the Self-Control app is for Mac.
Okay.
And then there is the Newsfeed Eradicator. Will block your newsfeed, Facebook newsfeed. You're going to hate me for this. And then the Stay Focused is a Chrome extension that does the same thing. It blocks certain websites that you can blacklist.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. And I want to thank everybody in the audience for being here as well. And as my gift to everybody, I always offer my free webinar on how to become a profitable speaker. And you can get that by going to clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Thrive. I loved having you here. I love having you as part of my community. And if you're enjoying the show, I would love it if you share it with your friends on Twitter, on Facebook, or wherever they're hanging out. I also want to let you know you can leave me feedback or comments. I love hearing from you. Just post those at heatherpoduska.com. You can also leave suggestions for topics that you'd like to know more about, or if there's someone you'd really like to see on the show, let me know that as well. Okay, until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes. Take care. Bye-bye.